All right, this is Gary Berger and Debbie Champion and another episode of Lawyer v. Lawyer. Hi, Debbie.
Hi, Gary. Welcome back.
Yes, I'm excited to be back. So on this episode, I thought and your idea was to talk a little bit about Corona and how it's been and where we're going.
Yeah, I'm interested in how you've handled the last, 3 months? 3 months we've been essentially away from the office, right?
I closed my office on March 15th, and today is we're recording this on the week of Wednesday, June 17th. So that's exactly 3 months. It was a Tuesday, I think the 15th of March, I remember, and we closed it up. How about you? What we did? You're so nice to ask me to start with me.
Talk away.
No. So we closed our office. Everybody worked from home. We had make sure everybody had laptops, access to all of our systems. We were fortunate that we were already geared up to work from home because we have a cloud-based case management system called FileVine that we used, case management program. We have everybody gets their email and their stuff on their phones and their stuff. We can remote into our server to get all of our documents. We have Google Drives and Dropbox to share documents. We also, for a long time, have used DocuSign to sign documents. So when clients sign representation agreements or medical authorizations and that kind of stuff. So
I did not know that, Gary, that you were already doing that. That's good.
Yeah.
You were ahead of the time.
Now, do you have that technology?
No, we do not. Although we have just during Corona started accepting it, and clients too. Sometimes clients are like, no, we're not taking that release signed by DocuSign, but now they will.
Medical authorizations, sometimes they won't take it unless there's an original. But you can, on DocuSign, you can do like what looks like an original signature, and then you could just say, all right, it's blue. Right. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, okay, it's original. So I think that original signature thing, because that original signature in notary really is it's a vestige of older. Thank you. Good word.
Yeah.
Because I when I remember buying a house, everything's on DocuSign with the real estate agents. I'm like, if I can buy a house, who cares about a release,
exactly.
Right?
Why can't I get my medical records that way?
Right.
Yeah, it's probably back when people really weren't educated and had to have an X or whatever, and so somebody had to say, "Yep, who that person is."
I was watching something about the federal government adjusting to Corona and stuff, and a lot of the testing and a lot of the things got delayed because they had regulations that you had to FedEx something to somebody's office. And this guy was going, can't they just scan and email this to you?
Oh,
and they're like, no, you have to print it off,
hilarious.
FedEx it to us, blah, blah, blah. And so the federal government itself had to change a lot of the antiquated ways. So tell me,
that's ridiculous.
Right. So we did that, and I can go into details. We filed a lot of lawsuits. I've settled a bunch of cases, especially at the beginning. Had a lot of Zoom meetings with my people. It was very interesting to see how I was able to see people's productivity. So I fired. I hate to say it. I fired 3 people, and I hired 1 or 2 back. One person decided to move 150 miles away and take my laptop and not tell me, one of my intake people.
Are you kidding?
And another person, I just kept having these Zoom meetings and they weren't doing anything, and you're not doing any of this stuff and you're not getting it. And then another person I had coached for a long time on lack of productivity and lack of doing my systems, and then I ended up separating him from his employment.
So I gotta ask you, Gary, and
it was hard.
Oh, of course it's hard.
I'm the worst about firing people. So I don't want to sound callous and stuff because it breaks my heart because it's a tough employment time too.
It's a scary time. Yeah, I've heard of a lot of people getting, I'll call it laid off because people the business went away. When the office went away, the business went away for a lot of firms. But I've also heard those people are able to find other jobs fairly quickly. But my question to you outside of Corona is this. In a plaintiff's firm, how do you monitor productivity?
That was my lesson. One of my lessons is that I would if everybody's in the office and I'm seeing them at their desk and working, that's one way I monitor productivity. But with that, when that went away, I was like, I haven't seen any written work out of your place for a while. So I do. So one of the ways is like I had a meeting with one of the lawyers the only lawyer that I separated his employment, and I said, this is before Corona. I said, I haven't seen anything come across my desk from you in 6 weeks. Give me everything you've done. And he came in and he gave it to me. It wasn't a lot. And I had these meetings with him. I said, what? You can sit and talk to the clients and you got to communicate to people, but I'm not paying you to sit on the phone all day, because that doesn't move the needle. I mean, you're a defense lawyer. If all I ever did is pick up the phone and call you, would you ever pay me on a case? No. You got to file motions and notices and get documents and set depots and send demand letters and follow up on a motion to compel. Keep the clients
informed, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, but it's getting like you got to push on the discovery.
Right.
I mean, all these. Did you send a golden rule letter? Yeah. Did they ever respond to it? No. How long has it been? Months. You know what? You got to have to call them up, and then you got to file a motion to compel. Otherwise, they're never going to give you that great picture, that great investigative report, or the key stuff in the case.
Do you have some sort of a file that's? Well, let me ask you this: do you have written files? Do you have paper files still?
We're moving towards non-paper,
so
but yes, we do have paper file. We're in between.
You do both. So you could do it though almost all on the system.
Yep.
If you were at home. All right. So
especially now.
Is there a way to track in your system what employees have been doing the last 6 months?
I can see what tasks they've done. I can see what documents they've got to do it. I do file reviews with the teams. I sit and go through the cases. I have a box where it says the last time I reviewed a file, and then I know, and then we have tasks and we do it. I go back and look at it, and I say, I had a conversation. And I say, listen, I asked you to do this demand letter on this date. It's not done. Get it done. Get it out.
Yeah.
And then I try to coach the people. Now, let me also say, I sound like a jerk. I fired people, but I've had all the people that are here and the people that I've hired have expressed continued gratitude to me that they're employed, that we're doing well. They appreciate the systems that I've worked hard to put in place so we work. So I'm getting a lot of gratitude from my core people on how well we're managing them.
When there are people who are part of the team who are not rowing, the team hurts because of it. So I bet you people don't want to lose their friends at work, but they are happy to have somebody take something off of them if you hire them and they're doing a good job. It's harder for you probably then to follow this than me, because the way I do it is look at my bills. So when I'm sending a bill out, I want to look at the bill and see what's happening on that file, what's been going on the last month or maybe 2 months, and what documentation got sent out, what this, that, and the other. And I have never spot checked a bill in my office where somebody has billed for something they haven't done. So that's a good thing. Oh my God, that would be a bad thing if that were the opposite. But that's a good way to monitor so that I can determine whether or not the associates are doing what I need them to do. And I just copy that bill and write a note onto them, and then we talk if we see a problem with that. But I've always wondered how plaintiffs keep up with how the work is done. So that's interesting.
Cases being settled, how many depots are you doing, what motions are you filing, what lawsuits, and then we have a thing that we track how many people, when you've talked to the clients. I have all that, so I can do it and review it. There's also automated reports I can do. You also keep track of your KPIs, your key performance indicators. So, and how many, and then settlement. The lawyers who are. We have a bunch of good lawyers I'm blessed to work with, and they have a sheet. Here's all the cases I settled this year, Gary. This is how much money I made. And one of them, a couple in particular, have sent me that recently and said, I'm crushing it this year. And I say, thank you, and here's a little bonus for you. Thank you.
Yeah, that's good.
And then, it's interesting. So you do get resentment from the other rowers about the person who's not rowing, because I have paralegals who are busting their humps, and then they know this other person isn't doing anything.
Right, they know before you know.
Oh, they know way before, and they have so much gratitude when that person who's not working is gone, because they feel like they're being listened to, and then you're rewarding their hard work by not keeping the people who ain't working.
That's right, because they want everybody to be good, or at least as good as they are.
Yeah,
they
working hard.
They don't mind it when people are working harder than they are.
Tell me about your experience, both in terms of the corona and measuring productivity. You already said a little bit about
productivity. I kind of told you how I measure productivity, but I also have these sheets. Everybody in my unit hates green because if I give them an assignment, it goes on a green sheet. And the paper is just green. They print it on green, and the reason for that is if there's a stack of 400 white papers on your desk, I want you to see the one that I'm telling you to do the work on, so that it stands out.
That's
great. It's been that way for 20 years, and they all hate green sheets. They hate them, but still, that tells them this is what we need to do to move the file forward, because that's the thing that the clients want to see. What are you doing to get this file to the end, whether it's settlement or trial or whatever? So when Corona hit, I don't remember the exact day when we closed, but I know that just before a weekend before we closed, we all scurried around to make sure everybody was set up with a laptop or with access to the firm remotely. And we have access remotely to all of our systems. There's nothing you can't get to other than the paper files. And we're like you, we have both, electronic and paper kind of combination. There might be an exhibit or something in the paper file that's not in the electronic file, but we have both. And it was difficult, particularly with the support staff, to try to figure out how to do dictation from home and how to do that sort of, although we were able to do it, it's just harder at home. And so we set everybody up to go home, and then right before we were all going home, my group came to me in mass to have 5 associates and a paralegal. And they came to me and said, don't make us go home. Please don't make us go home. And they were very, very high-strung about it. They were afraid because they didn't want to go home and work with the spouse or the children because they thought they wouldn't get anything done. They were very territorial about their files, and they wanted to be present with their files and in the office to do the work on the files. They were just really panicked about it. And so I said, I'll make a deal with you. We'll come in 3 days a week, and if you stay home too, because we need to space ourselves out a little bit. And so pick the days you want to come in. No, they just came in 5 days a week. So in this entire building that we are in, what do we have, 21 floors here or something in this building? My associates and I were 5 of about 40 to 50 people who came in, who continued to come in the whole time at Corona. So we did keep coming in. I tried to stay home, and I would then have a nervous breakdown about what was going to happen in our society. So I would stay. I would then come back to work and have some normalcy.
Yeah.
So we've all really just been quarantining at home, not going out, and then coming to work and not going out. We quarantine from each other here. We shut our doors and work. Although I have to say they're kind of bad about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. They all like to find their way to my office. But other than that,
What do you mean they want to find their way? To talk to you? To shoot the breeze, or to talk about cases?
Both. But I think it's because when you're quarantining, you miss human contact.
You need the contact.
Yeah.
I found too when I'm friends with everybody I work with, and when we stopped working with them, I really missed them. And when everybody kind of said that, and so
it's hard. It's been hard.
How has your productivity been during this time?
Amazing, both at home and work. I don't know why it's been amazing. My associates' productivity has been less than amazing, and the reason is because we lost that first several weeks worrying. They talked about it and worried about it and read about it, and they didn't know what was going to happen in the world. And so their productivity went down as far as billing. But then that has recovered and everybody's back to normal. That's a normal thing, I think, when you have a pandemic.
You got to adjust. All the pandemics you've been through.
All the pandemics I've been through, you really have to worry about it for a while. And so, but I'm a pretty focused person, and so mine has been that way. But what I learned right away was a big surprise to me. I knew that a lot of insurance adjusters had moved home. They are all working from home anyway, and they continue to work from home. They've been set up to do that for years, and so their lives did not change much. So when they would call and the offices were closed, it's a little frustrating to them because they don't, in their perception, this is business as usual.
Right.
So they would call and not be able to reach people, and then we were there. And so we had, normally I probably would have seen, probably Well, less than the number of files that I got in, I would have seen in a normal 3 months. I got in a lot of files in that 3 months, which is really unusual. But like you, we were able to settle a lot of files, not at discount prices. I'm not saying, oh gosh, there was a fire sale, but we were just able to reach the attorneys and talk about settlement and talk about the case, and the cases have moved better because we're not all running from here to there. We just aren't running a lot. And so because of that, you've been able to talk to attorneys more, and that has been nice. I'll tell you something else we did is I've sat through a ton of Zoom mediations that I would have sworn would never work. And they've been great.
Good.
It's been really odd, but they've been great. Have you done any Zoom?
I've done them. I've done Zoom those. I've done Zoom depots. So
yeah,
you know what
too.
I've done? And I record them on Zoom. So I take a doctor's depot, I record it on Zoom rather than having a video.
Yeah.
And then I can play that, and then I sync it, and I'll play that with that. And the other thing I've done with Zoom is I've done employee training. So I will.
Oh, that's a good idea.
I will do employee training. I will record it. And then I will also share my screen. Click here, go to this, do this, send this letter, do this. This is how you do it. So we've done some of that, and I've done some of that.
I miss my clients. I miss seeing people. I miss kind of running up to Columbia or Jefferson City or seeing people like that. That's been the biggest change for me, I think, and court. I kind of don't mind not seeing people. I'm a little bit of I don't mind being a little bit isolated. I'm like, we are all at different locations on that introvert extrovert thing.
Right. When I did the Myers-Briggs, I was right in the middle. I can be a real gregarious guy, but I also don't mind sitting at home and being with my family, which has been great. I've been home a lot.
That gives you a lot of human contact, though.
Here's one of the things that I found funny is I'm sitting there at home and I get a call from a client or a lawyer, and I'm working from home, and my reaction is, why are you calling me at home? And then I'm like, oh yeah, I'm working.
That's hilarious. That's funny.
So I'm like, what is this lawyer? I'm like, okay, fine. I got to stop swimming with my kid and I got to go settle a case. And I'm a little bit resentful. But
I'm that way too, though. I don't like that interaction at home. You've got to draw a line somewhere, and that's what's hard with people who are working at home, because now there's no line.
Right. Well, that's interesting, right? And so that's that. So it took us a little bit to get the program together at home. It took them a few days or a week or something before they could figure out their pattern at home, because no one's used to working at home, and so they got to figure out, making sure they have time and space, and they're interrupted. But then I think I got a lot of comments from a lot of people that they were being more productive at home, from my people, because the office chit chat isn't there. They don't have to catch up every day. There's the water cooler talk, whatever. Yeah. And then people felt like they were getting more. So when I was bringing we're all back. That we're coming back. We're doing staggered shifts. Everybody's coming in 2 days a week, starting this week. And I've had 3 of my people didn't make this week, aren't being able to come in. They're already calling off.
You mean, wait a minute. So people who have not been here for 3 months, you've scheduled them now to come back in.
One of them had something delivered. I don't want to give everybody's personal stories, but and I'm like, I've asked you to come in 2 days in 3 months, and you're batting 50%. But you know what? It's just like going home was an adjustment. Coming back's an adjustment.
That's exactly right. That is exactly right. And people are still a little bit scared. There are some people in the office who are scared. We've implemented now, since we've started back up, which was just really Monday, you have to wear a mask if you're in the common areas of, not in your office.
We do that too.
And so it's tough for people, because some people are wearing that mask because they have to, and some people are wearing that mask because they're scared. And so you got to take care of those people who are still scared.
Well, and
we all should be scared, probably.
We should be. I have a 2-year-old son who was in the ICU twice last year. ICU with breathing problems and bronchiolitis.
Gosh, that's scary.
And I have a wife who's having lung issues, and I have a 81-year-old father, and so I'm having. It's not that but on the other hand, I am I am a high-risk person. I am a plaintiff's trial lawyer. I'm a cave diver. I do all this high-risk shit in my life, and I assess risk very differently. And so I don't. It's not that I'm scared in terms of assessing the risk or whatnot, but I really have. I got people in my family I need to watch out for.
Right.
So I have had to create boundaries and different stuff with employees, with other people, with other stuff to say, no, you got to follow the rules. Because I am not going to, I'll tell you, if I isolate and do all this crap to run my business and do all this stuff, and then one of my people comes in and gives me corona next week, I'm going to be so up, it's going to not sit well with me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, of course it wouldn't.
And you too. I mean, in terms of I don't know, all the stuff we're going through, and then what if one of your employees doesn't socially isolate, comes in and starts breathing on everybody?
I know.
Would that piss you off?
Oh yeah.
Because I know you're like a mother bear with your people.
Yes, I am funny with my people, and we've had that conversation, and I know they're not all perfectly isolating, but I do make them take their temperature. I do make them check themselves, and I am feeling more comfortable about it because my scientist husband tells me that the concern about the 2-week isolation issue was not as big of a concern now as it was back then, because we didn't realize that people do not transmit the disease unless it is an active disease. And generally, when it's an active disease, there are some symptoms, and usually it's fever. So I feel a little bit better about the predictive ability we have to predict people are getting sick.
Do you have a thermometer at your office?
At the front desk. When you come in, you take your temperature and you check it off.
Wow.
And
I got to do that. I'm not doing.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I didn't implement. We're doing everything else. I wrote a policy. Did you have a written policy?
We do. Yeah.
Good.
So, but that's the most restrictive thing, but it's also, in my opinion, the most effective thing, because we know that it's more likely than not that people who are getting or who just got coronavirus are going to have that problem. So far, so good. I don't know what's going to happen, but so far, so good.
All right, so we've talked a little bit about where we've been and what we're doing now. Can we talk a little bit about the future with Corona and COVID?
Yeah, my big question for you is how, assuming we go back to, quote, fairly normal, end quote, how is your practice going to change as a result of this, if at all?
So my practice is going to change. One thing is people aren't going to need to see me. It was already happening. So I have an office downtown St. Louis.
Right. People don't like to come
People
here.
Don't come, but I also have an office in Chesterfield, one in Belleville. So sometimes but for 6 months or a year before Corona, no one wants to come and see me. People are very happy with signing up with me and trusting me. And as soon as they spend 10 minutes on the phone with me, they know they know what I'm doing.
Right.
So we are already really moving that way with docu-signing and doing everything virtually. And I will have people come in for a deposition or depo prep, and they'll never have met me before, even though they know me because I've talked to them.
Right.
So that may be a change for other people, but that's where things are going.
That's a big deal. I think it's where things are going too.
And then the other change is I'm hoping that I never have to do case status conferences again. One of the great things has been I haven't had to go sit in a courtroom for an hour and then go tell a judge for 5 minutes what's going on with the case and then leaving. Now, I miss seeing all the people I know.
Me too.
I really do, because I know a lot of lawyers, and I walk into the courtroom and there's some great people and people you've had cases with. But honestly, I haven't missed having to go to court in the morning, putting on a suit just for 10 minutes, for talking to someone about, we're doing discovery or set up for trial or blah, blah, blah. I've had some of these virtually and they've gone fine.
Or even by phone.
Exactly. So now but the question is, if my only power to get a good price on cases is a trial, do the lack of trials for the next year affect the value of my cases or my ability to get a good price or a good settlement price for a case is the question. And that's a question among a lot of plaintiffs lawyers. Some people are saying the sky has fallen. I don't I'm not that stressed about that.
Let me tell you my perspective on that, and maybe defense attorneys have a different opinion, but the way my clients are looking at it, the longer a case goes, the more expensive it gets. Always, because I charge by the hour. So if that case is sitting around, we're going to keep doing stuff on it. So in my mind, it does not change the evaluation. In fact, it changes the motivation of the defense to try to get it settled if they can settle it for a reasonable amount. So that's kind of what I think.
Yeah, and then the last thing, and I want to ask you, let me just add one other thing, and then I'll flip it to you because I'm interested in your thoughts too, is I think cases are down. Not as many people are driving. Not as many people are crashing into each other. There's not as many slip and falls because people aren't walking into Walmart or whatever and having a wet floor. And I only say Walmart because I fought a lot of Walmart cases lately, and I know the lawyers who handle them, and they're all. So we filed those cases. Are all good lawyers, but so I think cases now. But the thing is that won't rise to the level till later. But you know what I've done is I've made myself look for other sources of cases. So I have filed a national class action in Utah for an employment practice that I think is going to be a big case. I've been working on that. I'm about to file some in some other states. I'm looking at other types of cases and actions I can take. I've been pushing on a lot of the cases that were, you have cases, it's not that we're not working them, we're working them, but now I was this morning, I was like, hey, we got a case. This is $1 million case. Where are we on this? Let's start moving this case. So we have a lot in our arsenal, we have a lot of good cases. We need to keep pushing them. So anyway, let me ask you, how is this going to change your business?
I agree with you that there are going to be fewer cases. We may not notice it right now, but we're going to notice it in the next 6-8 months. And so what's going to happen with those with those fewer cases is plaintiffs' attorneys are going to be forced to settle those cases earlier because they're going to need money in some situations. So, but that's okay, because what that just means is the expenses on the defense side are going to be that much. We'll be settling cases a little bit earlier, but the coffers have to be filled up in some way, and I think what you're saying is correct. There aren't going to be a ton of work comp claims because people aren't working.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But there are going to be a lot of employment claims. There are going to be a lot of wrongful discharge claims. There are going to be claims that we can all handle, that we can all get, that we can fill those gaps with. And, there are times when causes of action go away or claims become not worth a whole lot, consortium claims, or what you used to call that claim when you would sue somebody who was the one who caused the divorce of somebody else. That we used to be able to do that in Missouri. Things changed, and so we all just kind of had to figure out how to change.
Alienation of affection.
There you go. I couldn't come up with it. That's right. So those cases, you don't even have those anymore.
You know what I've done? I'm taking COVID cases.
There are going to be COVID cases.
I have these. I put out a bunch of website. We're getting a lot of cases in, and some of these nursing homes where they don't do anything. I literally have a case where they tested everybody last month. They didn't have any cases. They had a parade. They brought in all the old people without masks in this nursing home, and my person got it from that. And it was on the news.
Oh,
and we have this amazing evidence in some of these cases. There are good nursing homes too, but there are some places that just aren't. And it's not new. They should be controlling infections forever.
Right.
In nursing homes.
That's right.
So
I do think we'll have cases. I do think there will be some suffering, but I think it will be less than everybody's worried about.
And we have a couple minutes left. Let me close out. I want to ask you, tell me about, has this caused you to look at the productivity of your firm and how your firm works and whether or not everybody's rowing in your firm?
It has caused me to look at, I would think my other partners would say it has caused them to look at how we can save money on space. From my perspective, it has made me try to determine whether or not everybody in our firm has cared enough about the firm to continue doing what they need to do to continue in the firm's best interest during this, or whether they're, quote, working from home by watching a lot of TV or otherwise.
And have you made any conclusions that you're willing to share with us?
Not yet.
So
no, I haven't made any conclusions. I will say we have not laid anybody off. We have paid people we know are at home doing nothing. And that's been a purposeful payment for a variety of different reasons. We've and some of it's because they can't do their job at home. So we think, well, that's not, you can't just lay that person off or force them to come to work. So we have made some decisions, economic decisions, that haven't been probably in the best interest of the firm, but they've been in the best interest of that employee, which in the big scheme is probably in the best interest of the firm. But there's going to come a time, I think, where we will have to look to see whether or not decisions have to be made to continue with employees who, well, let me just put this, we have to be leaner and meaner. I mean, I think what we're just talking about is cases that are not going to be coming in. We've got to decide, how do you service the client the best way and not have a lot of extra expense we don't need.
As one of the big business getters in your firm and one of the productive people in your firm, does it ever cause you any resentment that you're bringing in the money or bringing in the work and stuff, and that some people are, for one reason or the other, not to judge it, but are riding on your coattails?
Of course, and you've got the same problem. You have people here riding on your coattails too. But yes, you and I, people like the two of us who tend to bring in a lot of business, always have people who are going to be dependent on us. And sometimes you like that, because sometimes I want somebody who's going to be 100% focused on my business and my clients and aren't trying to bring in business to compete with that or to counter that. And sometimes I look and I think, how in the world are my employees going to be able to continue doing what I do when I'm gone? And so that worries me, and that's not good. And then, of course, when you're talking about shareholders, then there is always a concern about differences in efforts, I'll say. Effort really more than bottom line for me.
I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah.
If someone's working hard, then that's all I need. Even if let's say they're not settling cases, not doing work. I know, and I see people. I see the work. I know they're cranking out the work. I know they're there. I know they're answering phones. I see the emails and stuff. Then I'm fine. I really this harkens back to what we were talking about 20 minutes ago on productivity.
Yeah.
If they're working, they're trying and stuff. You know what? That's a lot of the ball game. That's 80% of the work, You've got to hang drywall before you can paint. And wow.
You're a great painter.
That's deep.
But you got to have those drywallers.
All right, listen.
I'm so glad to get back together.
I'm glad to get back together. All right, so we're going to end this episode of Lawyer versus Lawyer on Corona. Tune in for more episodes. Thanks, Debbie.
Thank you, Gary.